The night the lights went out. At 11:47 p.m., the city was still awake. Traffic lights blinked lazily. Phones buzzed. Somewhere, a fan replayed Yu Menglong's last public appearance, smiling, unaware that in this alternate reality, history had already fractured. By 12:03 a.m., Yu Menglong was gone. No sirens. No screams. No witnesses willing to speak. Just silence. And a question that would haunt millions. What really happened to Yu Menglong that night? According to leaked logs in this fictional timeline, Yu Menglong left a private gathering earlier than expected. He declined his driver. Declined security. One message was sent from his phone at 11:32 p.m. If anything happens, it wasn't an accident. That message was deleted, but not fast enough. When responders arrived, nothing appeared broken. No forced entry. No overturned furniture. No visible struggle. Yet seasoned officers reportedly described the room with the same chilling phrase. It felt staged, like the room was holding its breath. A glass sat on the table, untouched. The windows were locked from the inside. The clock on the wall had stopped. Exactly at 12:03. In this fictional universe, the building's security cameras mysteriously glitched during a 7-minute window, the exact time frame of Yu Menglong's final moments. 7 minutes. Enough time to end a life. Enough time to erase evidence. Enough time to change history. Every other camera worked flawlessly that night, except his floor. As rumors spread online, one name kept surfacing, then disappearing. Screenshots leaked. Posts were deleted. Accounts went dark. Fans noticed something terrifying. Anyone who mentioned the motive had their content removed within minutes. Not hours. Minutes. Who was watching? In this fictional storyline, a sealed interrogation transcript later surfaced. Incomplete, fragmented, chilling. A voice, allegedly shaking, whispered. He knew something. He wasn't supposed to. When asked what Yu Menglong knew, the recording cut out. Permanently. Memorial posts exploded. Then vanished. Then exploded again. Fans noticed old interviews suddenly being edited. Certain clips became impossible to find. Entire fan archives were wiped overnight. It was as if someone wasn't just hiding a death. They were rewriting a legacy. The most disturbing theory in this alternate reality wasn't about how Yu Menglong died, but why his silence mattered more than his life. That his final night wasn't random. That it wasn't personal. That it was necessary to someone. And if that theory were true, then Yu Menglong wasn't the end of the story. He was the warning. Because some questions don't fade. Because some nights leave fingerprints on history. And because in this fictional universe, the truth didn't disappear. It was buried alive. The official report stated, time of death, 12:03 a.m. But inside the sealed files, 3 different timestamps appeared. 11:41 p.m., 12:03 a.m., 12:26 a.m., each time signed off by a different department. In any real investigation, this would trigger alarms. In this one, no corrections, no explanations, just silence. Remember the 7-minute camera blackout? The sealed files didn't describe it as a malfunction. They used a different term, manual interruption. That single phrase changed everything, because it implied intent. Someone didn't lose the footage. Someone took it. According to the sealed transcripts, a neighbor initially reported hearing voices in the hallway shortly after midnight. Plural. 2 days later, their statement was revised. I was mistaken. I heard nothing. 3 days after that, the witness relocated. No forwarding address. No public record. In this fictional timeline, investigators noted one chilling detail. The revised statement was typed, not handwritten, and signed with a shaky mark that didn't match previous signatures. Yu Menglong's phone was returned to his family, wiped clean. No messages. No call logs. No drafts. But the sealed digital forensics report said otherwise. Before deletion, the phone had accessed an encrypted folder, a private audio file, a contact saved under no name, just a symbol. That contact was never identified. The audio file? Flagged as restricted playback. No copy exists. Officially. This is where the story turns cold. The autopsy summary was included, but page 7, detailing neurological findings, was torn out. Not redacted. Removed. The table of contents still listed it, as if someone wanted future readers to know something was missing. One margin note, scribbled in pen, appeared on the final page of the sealed files. Subject showed signs of pre-event awareness. Pre-event awareness. In other words, Yu Menglong may have known what was coming. Normally, sealing a case takes weeks. This one? 6 hours. Before dawn broke, before media arrived, before fans even knew something was wrong, the order had already been signed. By someone whose name was blacked out everywhere except one place. A single initial remained. Just one letter. That same week, fans reported. Old interviews vanishing. A live stream replays cutting abruptly. Subtitles changing mid-sentence. Nothing obvious. Nothing provable. But enough to create a feeling, like history itself was being edited. If the files were sealed to protect the truth, then what would happen if they were opened? And more importantly, who would that truth endanger? It appeared at 2:17 a.m. No announcement. No headline. No explanation. Just a single post on a low-traffic forum, a place known for leaking things that weren't supposed to exist. The post title read, Yu Menglong. This is the name they erased. Inside was only one word, one name, and a timer counting up, not down. For 11 minutes, the post stayed live. In that short window, screenshots spread across private chats. Reaction videos began recording. Fans froze mid-scroll. Then gone. The post disappeared. The account vanished. The forum locked itself. But the damage? Already done. In this fictional universe, the name wasn't famous. That's what made it terrifying. No celebrity. No public figure. No obvious connection to Yu Menglong. Yet people who saw it reported the same reaction. It felt like I wasn't supposed to know this. Some viewers said their phones overheated. Others claimed the screenshot files corrupted themselves. A few swore the name changed spelling when reopened. Glitch? Or panic? Within an hour, videos mentioning the name were muted. Search results returned nothing. Hashtags failed to load. One creator live streaming the discovery abruptly ended with a single sentence. I'm deleting this for my own safety. The stream never returned. Investigators in this fictional story noticed something chilling. Every major, accidental death case sealed in the past decade shared one overlapping detail. That same name. Not always central. Sometimes buried as a consultant. Sometimes as a logistics signature. Sometimes as an unnamed intermediary. Always present. Always untouched. Hours after the name leaked, a 12-second audio clip circulated privately. A male voice.
Come.
Controlled. If he talks, it won't stop with him. The voice was never identified. But listeners noticed something worse. In the background, faint, almost drowned out, was the sound of a ticking clock. Stopped at 12:03. According to this alternate reality theory, Yu Menglong wasn't targeted because he was famous. He was dangerous because he was invisible where it mattered. Trusted. Overheard. Present. And he had allegedly seen something involving the name that wasn't meant to be witnessed by anyone who could still choose to speak. One last fragment survived deletion, a draft message recovered from cloud metadata. I don't think they realize I remember the face. No recipient. No timestamp. No follow-up. Just fear, frozen in text. To this day, in this fictional universe, typing the name returns unrelated results. Archived links redirect elsewhere. Even mentioning it aloud feels wrong. As if the story itself is resisting exposure. As if the truth has learned how to hide. If the name was powerful enough to erase footage, seal files in hours, silence witnesses. Then Yu Menglong's final night wasn't about death. It was about containment. And containment only happens when something is still alive. It wasn't found on Yu Menglong's phone. It wasn't on the cloud. It wasn't in evidence. In this fictional timeline, it surfaced where no one thought to look, inside a temporary cache, a place data passes through for seconds before disappearing forever. Except this file didn't disappear. It stayed. Corrupted. Fragmented. Almost stubborn. Its name was simple. rec_1203_final. The file wouldn't play normally. Most software rejected it outright. Others played static. Some crashed entirely. But when an outdated audio parser was used, one no longer officially supported, sound emerged. Not clean. Not stable. But real. Breathing. Close to the microphone. Fast. Controlled. Like someone trying not to panic. Then a whisper. If you're hearing this, then I didn't make it out. That voice? In this fictional universe, it matched Yu Menglong's cadence perfectly. The recording lasted 46 seconds, but only 28 were audible. Every time the same sentence began, the audio degraded. They told me to forget what I saw at. Static. Every attempt to clean the audio resulted in data loss, as if the file actively resisted clarity. At 0:31, something new appeared. A second voice. Lower. Calmer. Not surprised. You weren't supposed to record this. The sentence didn't sound threatening. That's what made it worse. According to the sealed addendum, once the recording was confirmed, playback devices malfunctioned. Timestamps desynced. One analyst requested immediate reassignment. The official reason for suppression? Audio provenance inconclusive. Unofficially? Because if people hear this, the story changes. Hidden beneath the voices was a rhythmic sound. Not a heartbeat. Not footsteps. A mechanical ticking. Experts synced it to known recordings. It matched the exact clock model found in Yu Menglong's apartment. The one that stopped at 12:03. The final audible words were not spoken loudly. They were spoken with certainty. I know who you are. Then, silence. Not static. Not distortion. Just a clean, sudden end. As if someone pressed stop. When investigators checked the file metadata, they noticed something impossible. The recording was saved at 12:06 a.m., 3 minutes after the official time of death. In this fictional universe, only two explanations existed. 1. Yu Menglong was alive after 12:03. 2. Someone else finished the recording. Neither explanation was acceptable. So the file was buried. Even after suppression, fragments leaked. Not the whole recording. Just sensations. People claimed that after hearing even a second, clocks in their homes sounded louder. Silence felt heavier. The number 12:03 appeared everywhere. Coincidence? Or psychological imprint? It wasn't a confession. It wasn't evidence. It wasn't a goodbye. It was a time-stamped warning. And warnings are only useful if someone is still listening. Tragedy and started viewing it as a procedure, the pieces aligned. Every step followed a template. 1. Immediate narrative control. 2. Conflicting timestamps. 3. Witness destabilization. 4. Digital erasure. 5. Final containment. Yu Menglong wasn't unique. He was the latest variable in a process refined over years. Not because he was powerful. Not because he was reckless. Not because he was famous. But because he was present. In this fictional timeline, Yu Menglong had been in a room where no phones were supposed to be active. No records were meant to exist. And no outsiders were expected. Except him. And unlike others in that room, he left with memory intact. They assumed silence would come naturally. That fear would do the work for them. What they didn't anticipate was this. Yu Menglong didn't plan to expose anything publicly. He planned to walk away. And walking away with knowledge can be more dangerous than speaking. Because silence keeps options open. Not to hide what happened, but to lock the timeline. Once a case is sealed fast enough, reality hardens around the official version. Contradictions stop being flaws. They become features. Anyone who questions them looks unstable, obsessive, conspiratorial. That's how containment spreads socially. Buried deep in the sealed addendum was a single paragraph marked Risk Assessment, Subject Neutralization Outcome. It concluded with one sentence. Long-term exposure risk reduced to negligible. Not eliminated. Reduced. Meaning someone somewhere understood that stories like this never fully die. The audio file wasn't dangerous because of what it said. It was dangerous because of when it existed. A voice speaking after the official end of the story creates a fracture. And fractures spread. That's why the recording wasn't destroyed. It was discredited. Because destroyed evidence becomes legend. Discredited evidence becomes noise. In this fictional universe, Yu Menglong didn't die because he fought back. He didn't die because he exposed anything. He died because he became unpredictable. And systems fear unpredictability more than opposition. Because on some level, everyone recognizes the pattern. Not the names, not the places, not the details. The structure, the speed, the silence, the sudden certainty. And once you see that structure, you start noticing it everywhere. Officially closed. Privately contained. Reality dormant. Dormant things aren't gone. They're just waiting for conditions to change. In the end, in this alternate reality, Yu Menglong wasn't a victim. He was a threshold. The moment where something almost crossed into daylight. And thresholds are dangerous places to stand. The question was never, what really happened to Yu Menglong that night? The real question was always, what almost came out with him and didn't? And if you're still thinking about this story, then, in this fictional universe, containment didn't fully work.